Hello Airsoft friends and welcome to this video today, where today I am going to be playing around with some new information that I have just kind of discovered, you could say. But before we get into what that information is, even though we do have a bit of a clue of what that may be with everything that's on the table, I just want to say a big thank you to all of my patrons who support the channel month after month. You guys are amazing and really do help keep these videos coming. And of course a big thank you to you for watching this video, and if you haven't subscribed yet, I would really appreciate it if you click that big old button below, because there's more videos coming and you're not going to want to miss them. Now, on to this new information. Now, I'm sure pretty much all of you know there's lots of different ways in which you can power airsoft guns when you're out in the field. You've got electric, you've got your spring, and then you've got your gas. Now, within gas, you've got your three main categories that break down. First of all, you've got HPA, and I always find it quite funny that some people don't think HPA is a gas-powered gun, but, you know, air is a gas, so... And then you've got green gas and you've got your CO2. Now, I have got a fair few different green gas pistols, and I have some additional ones on the wall as well. I have got a high capper there, and I've got a Mark 23 there. Now, when it comes to pistols, I've always been more of a fan of green gas, purely for the reasoning that I feel like green gas is easier to use. When you want to fill a magazine, all you need to do is grab your mag, grab your gas, and just kind of like, you know, do this. And then your magazine is filled with gas. Nice and easy, nice and quick. With CO2 magazines, however, you've got to buy those CO2 bulbs. When your bulb is empty, you need to like have a tool out with you, like an Allen key. Or that's how it is for this magazine anyway. You can get like the thumb screw CO2 kind of bits in there as well, which are a little bit easier and quicker to use. But because of this mindset I allowed myself to kind of be sucked into, I have never really wanted to run CO2 pistols at all. So here is my little collection. We've got my Novrich SSP-18, we've got my Tokyo Marui G18C, and then we've also got my KJ Works Glock 27 or G27. And there's one thing I found between these and my other pistols is that sometimes the gas mags just don't work as well as I would like them to. So for example, I've got these two magazines here of green gas, and they're all gassed up ready to go. And I've got this big old magazine here. I'm gonna go through them all with the green gas magazines, and then I'm gonna jump over to the CO2 and we're gonna see how they perform. Everything is empty, it's all safe. I'm gonna dry fire them first, and then we're gonna put some BBs in the mags, and then we're gonna chrono and fire them again. So we are currently in a safe dry fire environment. Let's start off with the KJ Works here. Let's go for one of these magazines first. Let's jump across to the Tokyo Marui G18C. Try it in here as well. Well, that first one was a bit naff. That's definitely been inconsistent. Let's try the Novrich SSP-18 now. It feels consistent. It does feel like it's a little bit like slow in terms of the cycling. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna regas those mags. I'm gonna put some BBs in, and then we're gonna chrono them to see what kind of performance we're getting on the chrono. But before we do this shooting test, have you subscribed? If not, hit the big old subscribe button now, and then you'll be able to enjoy all the content coming up. Those are now gassed up. I'm gonna just kind of like load these in a very chill way. I'm using my StayFreshShoe 0.28 gram BBs as well. So if you want to get some of those, you can get them on projectairsoft.co.uk. I'm literally just gonna kind of... So we've got some BBs in our magazines now. I'm gonna bring out my amazing little chrono tool here. Since we've last seen it, I've actually kind of made a bit of a change / upgrade, and I've stuffed this bottle here with some bubble wrap. So when the BBs go in, it actually softens the impact and makes it quieter to use, which is a nice little cheeky win. So I've got my chrono device there. Let's start off with the KJ Works and see what kind of performance we get on this green gas. Oh, see, it's different with the BBs in. Did you see that gas? Apparently the first one was 796 FPS on 0.28 gram BBs, then 661, and then 256, and then 1,281. I imagine what could be causing the issue there is all of that extra gas that was being propelled was probably messing up the sensors inside the chrono. Then it settles around 216, 214, 215, all kind of a bit close, but it definitely was gassing a lot more than you would want it to. Put that to the side there, and now we're gonna take the Tokyo Marui G18C and see what happens with this. Oh. All of them were between 240 to 248, so that is... doesn't feel or sound snappy. If I was just like... I'd feel like something was wrong with it. Maybe the recoil spring. That's the G18. And then let's come across to the knob where we'll put the extended magazine in. Pretty much between 246 and 252 on the FPS. I will admit, I am not getting any of the, the performance I was expecting to get. When I was doing my testing for this previously, I was getting mags kind of like gassing out and just generally not having a good time. But for some reason, everything is kind of okay at the minute. But anyway, that's those done there. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the CO2 magazine and do the same shooting with them all. And then we're going to see what the performance is like, and we can see the difference between the two. So let's start off with the KJ Works one. 280 FPS. This one, remember, was at like the 216 FPS. This has gone all the way up to 280 and is pretty consistent, and it feels much snappier as well. That does feel a lot better and is much more powerful. 286 FPS. If we did want to get more FPS, of course, we could go up a different gas. Green gas is number 2 in power on a 4 scale because it goes white, green, red, and black. So I could make them more powerful on the green gas. So power isn't something which I'm too fussed about, but I will say that pretty much brings me right up to the UK legal limit. So that is something which I am actually quite happy about there. And it does feel so much snappier, and it feels like it's got a better sound, and there's like less gas exploding like out of the back and out the sides of it. Anyway, let's go on to the next one here. So we've got the Tokyo Marui G18C here. This one felt a bit slow, felt a bit sluggish, and there was a lot of like gas expelling around the pistol, so the kind of flow into the gun didn't seem to be as, you know, good. Well, that feels a lot better. I am not gonna lie. Compared to the green gas variant, that feels and sounds so much better, so much snappier. And the FPS for that as well brought up at 2, again, pretty much to the 285, 289 FPS mark. Right, I need to put some more BBs into this, and then we're gonna put it into the SSP18. Let me put it onto semi. That feels like it has got some kick to it. Oh my days. We are pretty much in the same ballpark between 275 and 289. That's our minimum and our maximum there. But everything is pretty much on par, being about 282, 284. So I love the fact that this magazine has made these riffs all pretty much perfectly on limit. Like, that's really, really cool. One of the areas where CO2 is better than green gas is CO2 doesn't really get affected by temperature at all. So you know that when you're testing these either at home or at the field, the power of the riff isn't going to change. With green gas, when you go and play, especially in summertime where it can be cooler in the morning and then get quite hot during the day, you have to take a couple of different types of green gas with you so you can swap out during the day to make sure that your mags don't get warm, over expand the gas that's in there, and then make the magazines unusable. Literally, I have had that happen before where I've put, I think, red or green gas into my Mark 23 magazines, and by lunchtime, I physically couldn't, with all my strength, push the exhaust valve in. My magazines were pretty much useless at that point. So what I had to do was leave them in the shade, let them cool down. I put some like cold water on them as well to try and like bring that temperature down. And then after a while, with all of my might, I was then able to press the exhaust valve, get the pressure down, and then use the magazine again. So it is something that you need to watch for. I do want to test this out on full auto as well. So we're going to see what the full auto performance is like with this versus this magazine here. And we'll also test it on the G18C to see what kind of performance difference we get. Notice as well that there's not really any gas expelling outside and around the riff. Whereas I find with the gas mags, it can actually happen quite frequently. Especially with like these two at the minute, it seems to happen every time I take them out. Full auto, let's see what this is like. That feels solid. Like, that kick is really comfortable. It feels legit. That makes me happy. That's so good. Oh my days. Let's go to the gas mag now and see if we have just the same kind of positive experience. Oh, it feels so much softer. The recoil feels a lot softer. Let's go to full auto. And you get the cooldown as well with gas. I forgot about that. So with green gas, the more that you shoot, the more cooldown you get. Like, the magazine here feels really, really cold to the touch. So I'm gonna have to wait a while for that to kind of like warm up again before I get the really good performance come back into the pistol. Whereas if I go with the CO2, I don't really have that cooldown be a problem, or as much as a problem. Yeah, or as much as a problem. Like you saw there, the green gas definitely had cooldown faster than the CO2 did. Like this is now spent, and the magazine does feel really cold, but the CO2 mag was definitely giving me better performance. So that is my little nugget for you today. If you have a pistol and you're kind of like wanting to get better performance, then CO2 could be the way to go. One of the other reasons why I've been a little bit hesitant about CO2 is one of the sites where I kind of almost started playing at do not allow CO2 guns of any type there because it's not a part of their insurance. So when I experienced that, I was like, well, I don't want to find myself at an airsoft site where I can't use one of my guns because I may be really reliant on that gun for the day. But since I've been there, I have literally never been to an airsoft site where they've said no to CO2 guns. Sometimes they'll say that green gas pistols don't need to be chronoed because their power is generally lower. And after testing like this versus the CO2 magazine, I can definitely kind of like understand their position on that. I guess I've been curious about CO2 not just for the last few days, but since I came back from Austria when I visited Novrich. They gave me one of their pistols to use over there, and we only had CO2 magazines available, and I was a little bit apprehensive because I didn't really use CO2 at all. But I must say, when I was practicing with the pistol and when I was out in the field, I was having this kind of positive experience with it. It was just so much more snappier than green gas. It was better performing than green gas. It was more consistent than green gas. I didn't like shoot and get like a load of gas like coming out and spilling over the sides or out the back here, which made it feel cleaner and made it feel like it was more doing what it was supposed to be doing as opposed to pissing gas on me. This is the only CO2 magazine that I have for my Glock-based guns, and I 100% need more of these. From this so far at the minute today, and from the tests that I've done before, there's no way I'm going to go out and play with any of these pistols unless I have CO2 magazines to go with them as well. So look out, Novrich, I will be putting in an order for a load of these CO2 mags. And if you want to get some CO2 magazines as well, I've got my little Novrich affiliate link available in the description below. Anything that you buy on that link gives me a bit of a kickback, and I'd really appreciate that support too. But for now, look after yourselves, remember to call your hits, and I'll see you in the next one.